Ever been in a big game? You're stuck in this huge line and you're just wondering, why does this hot dog cost so much and why is it taking forever? Well, today we are going to go behind the counter and decode what is, no joke, one of the most complex logistical puzzles on the entire planet. Welcome to the supply chain behind everything. I am Daksh, and we are going behind the scenes of the products, events, and experiences you love to uncover the fascinating journey of how things reach you. Let's get into it. So, to really get this, just imagine a completely sold out stadium. The home team scores right before the half. The energy is just electric. But down in the kitchens and at the concession stands, they know exactly what's coming. In just a few minutes, a human tidal wave is about to hit. We are talking tens of thousands of people who all at the exact same time decide they need food and they need it right now. And here's the real kicker: they have to serve this massive, hungry crowd during halftime. And halftime, it's just 12 minutes long. That's it. 12 minutes to feed what is essentially a small city before the second half kicks off. And failure is just not an option because the last thing you want is thousands of angry, hungry fans missing the game. So, this brings us to what we are calling the impossible halftime problem. It's an operation that is so intense, serving a whole city in the time it takes to microwave a pizza, that it honestly seems like it should defy the laws of physics and business. To put this into perspective, think about this. The busiest McDonald's in America serves about 2,000 customers over an entire 24-hour day. A stadium has to serve 25 times that many people in a tiny, tiny fraction of the time. The scale is it's really mind boggling when you think about it. Let's break that down even more because this is where it gets crazy. To serve 50,000 people in just 720 seconds, the stadium's entire system, every stand, has to process over 69 transactions every single second. Every cashier has a goal of about 30 to 45 seconds per customer. If they go any slower, the lines just become completely unmanageable. It's a game of seconds. And this really highlights why stadium food service is just its own unique beast. A normal restaurant prepares for days, manages their inventory, and serves customers at a pretty steady pace. Stadiums, they get all their supplies the morning of the game. They have almost zero storage space, and then they have to deal with that insane 12-minute demand spike. It completely breaks all the normal rules of the food business. So, how in the world do they manage this chaos? Well, it's not just one single strategy. It's actually a really clever three-tiered system that's designed to conquer the chaos. Let's break it down. The solution is this brilliant three-part system. First, you've got the super high-end premium clubs. Then you've got the high-volume concourse concession that's the workhorse where most of us are eating. And finally, you have the super convenient mobile services like vendors and apps. Each one of these tiers is designed to solve a totally different piece of the puzzle. The premium tier, you see, it's not really about making a profit on food. It's just about justifying those $1,000 ticket prices. The concourse, that's the engine room. It's designed for pure speed and maximum revenue. And mobile, that's all about charging a premium for the ultimate convenience of never having to leave your seat. And here is a big twist. Those fancy club level restaurants with a full menu, a lot of them actually break even or even lose money on the food itself. They are what's known in business as a loss leader, something you sell at a loss just to attract customers to something else. In this case, that something else is the high priced $500 plus club seat. The fancy food makes that expensive ticket feel worth it, and in a way, it helps subsidize the whole operation. The whole operation starts way before the fans even show up. We are talking 4 hours out. Massive industrial kitchens are already cooking, literally thousands of hot dogs, prepping tons of food. 2 hours before kickoff, hundreds of employees are already in position, ready to go. They're all just waiting for that clock to hit zero on the second quarter. And then, boom, the explosion. In those 12 minutes, that's just 720 seconds, the stadium completely transforms. Lines go from 3 people deep to 50 people deep in an instant. They are processing 1,000 transactions a minute with every single employee moving at absolute top speed. It's controlled chaos and it's been perfected through tons and tons of practice. So, what's the secret weapon here? It's technology. There's basically a central nervous system tracking inventory in real time. The second a cash register system sees that, say, stand 12 is getting low on hot dog buns, a runner is already being dispatched with reinforcements. They solve the bottlenecks before the people on the ground even know they have a problem. It's incredible. Okay, now for the question I know you've all been waiting for, the price. Why on earth does stadium beer cost $12? Let's get into it. Let's finally solve this mystery once and for all. And it's not just because they can charge it. The economics behind it are actually a little more complicated than you might think. In the traditional model, the stadium or venue owner takes a massive cut right off the top. We are talking 60 to 70% of the gross revenue. That leaves the actual food service company with a much, much smaller piece of the pie to work with. And from that little 30 to 40% slice, the concession company has to pay for the actual beer, the cup, all the employee wages, refrigeration, insurance, you name it. And they have to still try to figure out a way to make a profit. So, to make that math work, the price you pay has to start high. But then, one team decided to just completely blow up that model. The Atlanta Falcons introduced something they called fan first pricing. Now, instead of sharing revenue, they paid the food service company a fixed management fee. This meant the team kept all the revenue, and this is the most important part, they could set their own prices. And the results were dramatic. Beer prices dropped from the league average of $9 all the way to just $5. Hot dogs went down to $3. And you know what happened? Volume exploded. Fans actually spent more money overall because the prices felt fair. The team found it was just as profitable, but now they had much, much happier fans. So, what can we all learn from this incredible operation? Well, these extreme logistics actually hold some really powerful lessons for pretty much any business that deals with intense demand. First, you have to design for your absolute peak moments, not your average day. Second, having backups and redundancy isn't a cost, it's pure survival. Third, real time data is really the only way you can turn chaos into control at this scale. And finally, you have to find that balance. Let technology handle the sheer volume and empower your people to handle the unexpected problems. So, the next time you're standing in that halftime line, just take a second to look around. You're not just waiting for nachos anymore. You're part of one of those intense, high stakes logistical ballets ever performed, all perfectly compressed into just 12 minutes. It's kind of amazing. And that leaves us with one last thought. For decades, the conventional wisdom was that you should always charge captive audiences, people with no other choice, really high prices. The fan first model proved that might be completely wrong. So, the question is, if this can work in the stadium, where else could rethinking value and pricing completely change the game? If you enjoyed today's deep dive on stadium food logistics, a like and subscribe to this channel would really help other supply chain nerds like us find the show. I am Daksh, and this has been the supply chain behind everything.